What is up, guys? I know it's been a minute. It's Roni here. We've been super busy in the shop, so it's been a tad difficult to get a video posted. But we've been banging out Subies. I know the last one I posted up was kind of about the Ford and the EP3, and we were still working on Drew's car. We've cleared out of most of that. We've been banging out Subarus from the auction, from buying privately and otherwise. We've been taking them in, fixing head gaskets. It's quite a common thing. Subaru Outbacks, the Legacy GTs, the turbos. We've done SCIs, we've been doing WRXs. We've been cranking them out. So I thought, well, now that we slowed down a little bit, you know, being the holidays and everything, I can get back to posting up some videos on what we've been doing. So today I'm going to give you a walkthrough on this vehicle right here. It's another Subaru. This one is actually an Outback Legacy 2006. It's got the cloth interior, heated seats. It is tan. We've had quite a few tan lately. It's not in too bad a shape. Wood grain. Disc brakes. Plenty of room. Now, if you see some of these that I work on, you can actually go to All Service Auto in Colorado Springs. This one particular will be going up for sale too. It's got about 150,000 on it, and we are doing today the timing belt, the water pump, the head gaskets, and then it'll get a valve adjustment at the very end. So it's kind of going to get the full ringer. What I'm going to walk you through on this real quick is how to pull the motor out. Whether you're doing it with an engine lift in your garage, or if you're doing it with a car lift and you're able to get under it, and the accessibility is a tad bit easier. Needless to say, I'll walk you through it either way. So the tools that you're going to need for this job, kind of right here, I use a long extension. I'm going to pull in the trans bolts to motor, a ratcheting breaker bar, flathead Phillips screwdriver, some ratchets, more extensions, 10, another 10, got a 12, 10, 10, a 14, and a 14 wobbly. And I'll tell you why this one in particular with this extension, at least for me, is really handy. So starting out to pull this motor, oh, and just in case, sorry I didn't clarify, this is the 2.5 non-turbo single cam. Okay, so to pull this motor out, you're first going to pull the intake box, which sits right here. There's a 10mm bolt here, and there's another 10 that goes through this little hole right here, a nut. Take that off. It'll pull the whole intake box up to here. You'll undo the 10 that's on a hose clamp. You'll pull that off. That'll allow you to pull the whole intake box off. Don't forget to disconnect your mass airflow sensor. Okay, so then you'll come up and you'll have your accumulation box up at here. There's this 10 right here, and there's another 10, and I ended up dropping it. I gotta get it when we lift it. That goes right here. You'll take that 10 off, you'll take this 10 off, and undo the hose clamp that sits here. That'll allow you to pull the whole box off, which I set up there on the roof. Okay, after you get that done, you can come over here to this side, and this is just the first video, guys, so if I miss something or whatever, then I hope I catch it when I do my recap. You come over on this side, make sure you remove your battery. It's a 10 and a 10, and then a 10 and a 10 for the holder that holds it down. I pull it out, I set it on the floor on the plastic holder. Don't set your battery on the concrete, it's not good for it. Then you'll have the alternator strap that runs across, goes to the 14 or the 12 that sits at the top of the alternator with the plug in the back of it. Make sure you pull your battery before you do that. You don't want to electrocute yourself. So you pull that and the plug I always just tuck them over here to the side. That way they're nice and out of the way, and you don't have to worry about them while you continue to pull the rest of the motor. After you've done that, you'll come over to the serpentine belt. There is a 12 right here, and you have to undo the 12 right here to loosen this. You'll pull this cover that sits on the top here off. The 10 and the 10 that sit right next to it right here, you'll pull those off. You'll loosen that 12, loosen this 12, and go ahead and turn this in reverse, and it's going to lower the alternator. Sometimes you got to give it a little tap with a hammer. There is a metal bushing here that sits in the back, and when you tighten it, that nut back here pushes that bushing up against the bracket and tightens the whole thing. So you may have to smack it a little, get it to go down. It will be if the alternator, you know, hangs up and you got a gap on it like that. So you'll loosen that all the way. That'll relieve tension on your belt. You'll go ahead and loop the belt off. I always pile my belts. I shut the mirror and put the belts there in order, so I know the first belt that I'll put on the car is the AC belt, and that'll go on because that's the last belt I'm going to take off. And then the last belt to go on when I'm putting it together will be the alternator and the power steering belt. So after you've gotten those ones off, the next thing you're going to go ahead and do is you have these O2 sensors up here. And I do this just because when I go to the bottom, everything I've done is taken care of on the top. So those ones are disconnected. Because it's an automatic, you're going to have to pull the throttle body. There's 1, 2, and then 3, and another 4th on the other side. And that'll go ahead and pull the throttle body off. And you will have 4 12mm nuts that actually, and I'll show you once I get a little bit farther. There's a rubber cap here, and you'll go ahead and put your 22mm on the crank with your breaker bar and turn it till you see the 12mm on the flywheel, and you'll go ahead and undo those. There's 4 of them, and you just have to turn the crank, and that's after you remove the throttle body. So again, I've started this video as I'm halfway through tearing apart the top, and when I get it all done, top and bottom, I'll go ahead and do it again. After you've done those, I like to, in the process I go along, you have a 14 here, because when you remove the motor you need the up and down flex of the transmission. So it's a 14 and a 14 on both sides. Here in the back, I take out the top 14 that sits right here. It holds the top of the starter in. I'll go ahead and pull that one out. Pull this 14, and there's another 14 right here. I pull as many out as I can reach all along top of the bell housing. Don't forget this one. You will need to pull this 12 and this 12 for the bracket that holds your accumulation box before the throttle body, just because it makes it easier as you're trying to pull the starter out, which will pretty much be the last thing. Like I said, I try and take care of everything on the top end as much as I can, and then when I lift the vehicle, then I can handle everything on the bottom. So when I set it down one last time, then all I have to do is go ahead and pull the motor out and pull the radiator along with it. And while we're on the bottom, we'll have pulled the hose, drained it, everything like that. So when we lower it the last time, we can take our hose off, pull our radiator out with our fans. There's no need to separate them. Just make sure you undo your plug that sits under the reservoir on this side, and this plug that sits right here, and you can undo it from top or bottom. It really doesn't matter. It's pretty accessible either way. There's a little tab you can see moving there. You pull up on the tab, and then with the wiggle it'll come out. I got one hand's tied up here, so it's a little difficult. Like I said, after you take the belt off and you get the belt, there's another 12 under the pump. There's another 12 on the other side, and then straight right there where you can see tip of my finger, there's a 12. That'll take the whole power steering bracket and it's gonna flop right over here. Your alternator will come out as well. That'll be out. And that's pretty much where we're gonna stop. I'll go ahead and do another video here as soon as I get the rest out. If you don't have an AC vac machine, you can if you're doing this in your garage without the AC vac machine, then once you get the alternator off, go ahead and pull the belt as well and the tensioner off. And there's 14s, 1, 2, there's a third, and then a fourth right here. And you can just pull the pump out and with the lines on it and flop it over to the side if you don't have that convenience. As well as your fuel lines here, there is a special tool. I'll show that in the next video. It fits under the green plastic retainer clip that sits in here, and you push in and then pull out, and it'll allow you to pull that one off. And then it's just a regular hose clamp for this one at the bottom. Of course, your brake booster as well off the manifold, don't forget to pull that one. And if it makes it easier for you in that process, you can pull, since you have to pull the throttle body off to get at those flywheel bolts, you can pull that connector, you can pull this tube right here, and also you can see I've undone this clip on this one right here, so you can pull that tube off, and then the whole throttle body will just flop up here to the side and allow you room to the plastic cover that is down here to get at those flywheel bolts. So that's pretty much it for now. Like I said, we're doing the timing belt, water pump, head gaskets, and valve adjustment on this 2006 Subaru Legacy Outback wagon. Alrighty guys, we'll talk to you soon. I'll post another video after I get the bottom done so you can see what goes on under there, and we'll go from there. Alright, see you guys soon.